Well, guys, we did it. We fixed ice dance for queers in Canada. Hi, my name is Jada. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm still here to teach you how to break out of your comfort zone by becoming Come on, Jada. I'm still here to teach you how to break out of your comfort zone by becoming an adult skater. But I need to let you know what you're getting into. Recently, Skate Canada announced that it will be finishing the rollout of inclusivity in paired skating disciplines, ice dance and pairs free, by changing the definition of a team on the podium pathway from a man and a woman to two skaters. For those who aren't in Canada, this is their competitive track that makes skaters eligible to compete nationally and internationally, similar to US figure skating's standard track. In 2019, Star and Adult Pathways already updated the language to include two skaters versus a man and woman, utilizing verbiage such as skater A and B, lifting partner and lifted partner, and leading and following partner to differentiate the different skaters in a team. We already know Canada tends to be more liberal in their policies compared to the rest of the Western world. They were the first and possibly only federation to change the language for figure skating terms that were harmful to Indigenous communities. And it seems like a fair amount of people were receptive to that change, although I've made a bubble to protect myself, so I'm sure there are people who did not take the change with as much grace. But you want to know what I heard out of people in the US figure skating community when that change was announced? This is stupid. What is this woke bullshit? It's just a name. And I mean, this isn't just skaters or spectators. This is club presidents, coaches, competition officials, committee members from US figure skating. But US Figure Skating is trying, right? In 2022, the US Figure Skating Governing Council voted to change the language in the rule book for free dance test and pattern dance diagrams. Instead of man and lady, it will be leading partner and following partner, similar to ballroom dance. Before this meeting, it was already allowed to test with the same gender in pattern dance, so this is more of a technicality that fell through the cracks when making this change. And the pattern dance nomenclature is something that I've been complaining about for a long time, so I'm excited that that will be a relic in US figure skating come July 2023. But let me tell you a variety of reasons why we will probably never see Canada's policy in the US, and even if we do see it, it will easily be another decade before we see it on the ice. There's a part of the rule change that's bothering me. It's the split tracks. Right now, you can test solo or partnered in both free and pattern dance. For pattern dance, it is assumed that you will dance your corresponding gender steps if applicable, although there's no real way to verify this on the test form, so you leave it up to the judges to assume your gender identity, which I can't explain to you how problematic it is considering it is predominantly older white women who are doing the assuming. Under this new rule, you can test leading, following, pattern, or solo, so a total of 4 tests for you to be eligible for, regardless of your gender identity. Not to mention the fact that you still are limited to being male or female as far as US figure skating is concerned, but that's another video. So hypothetically, you can give US figure skating all of your money instead of them making a freaking equitable solo dance track that aligns with the solo dance series. Sorry, that is still a very contentious topic for me that I don't want to talk about right now. With the 4 tests, not only is this a nightmare for test chairs and judges who are mostly older and still getting used to the last big changes that rolled around with the new judging system, but this is a classic neoliberal half step into progression that benefits almost no one. Do you have to signify who is leading and who is following when you're registering an EMS for a competition? And would you have to pass the specific corresponding test in order to pass through that nightmare that is the EMS system? I get where the benefit comes for the skater. You may start in following track and decide that after getting your gold medal that you want to go and try and do the leading track because I don't know, you're bored. But if you can crosswalk to the other side at the next level up with no penalty, mind you, what's the point of getting 2 medals when you can just decide, I really don't want to do the following steps anymore because the women's steps are harder. Maybe I'm the wrong audience for this, but the kids I've worked with don't really like testing that much. So to give people the opportunity to potentially test dance 4 times when you don't have to just sounds like immense socioeconomic privilege or being severely out of touch with your membership. Or both. But here's why I really doubt that any meaningful change is coming to US figure skating anytime soon. In the 2022-23 USFSA rulebook, pairs has a very explicit language that gives almost no barriers to what constitutes a team, even though in a more practical stance, you have to be a man-woman team in order to be competitive because of the language in the rule. However, competitive ice dance teams are limited to being a man and a woman. That's right there in the text. Mind you, with zero inclination that will ever be up for negotiation. So yeah, you can test however you want because there is no reason that there are gendered roles for a free dance test as long as all the requirements are met. But that somehow changes when you're competing because, what, fairness? Ease of competing internationally? Canada obviously doesn't care about making that choice for skaters. You can argue that the committee that made this change for the test is a different committee that would make the competition change. But people have internet and mouths and best of all, Zoom. If people really wanted to make a coordinated effort for inclusivity, they would. Let me make something abundantly clear. No one is spending money that it takes to train and compete if they weren't going to be competitive. I really struggle to understand why we're having such explicit language that creates such a barrier. Why have prescriptive language when advantages happen regardless of how people identify? There will always be teams that have a height advantage or a muscular advantage or a speed advantage or a creativity advantage. I don't care. In a lot of ways that our political structure in the US is set up, I feel like a lot of these explicit policies in figure skating really imply that skaters and their coaches are head empty and have no inclination to strategy. Skaters are getting eating disorders. They're pumping themselves full of weird supplements and pharmaceuticals and sacrificing their socio-emotional development in their younger years for the sport that doesn't seem to respect them as people with thoughts. I don't know about Canada, but I know a lot about the ice dance culture in the US. True inclusion would be turning figure skating on its head in order to respond to the emerging changes in gender identity and expression. We need a complete rehaul in how we're training officials, coaches, and club leaders to create the inclusive environment they swear they're doing on paper. We need to reward ice dancers for breaking out of the mold instead of whittling away at the mold that's been in action for almost a century. People don't even feel comfortable coming out with their sexuality, which mind you is largely irrelevant to the sport, let alone coming out as something other than cis. In this sport, where we just got the ability on the standard track to not wear skirts as an ice dancer woman, this policy in Canada is a good step, but I really hope that they're planning something more interventional to teaching adults how to include trans ice dancers. The DEI initiatives I've seen coming out of US figure skating are giving me 1960s civil rights movements, and I really hate to be the bearer of bad news, but people of color and women still don't have equal rights in this country, so it's going to be a long time before we see anything meaningful changed in the sport. And that's just the reality. But this is all my own opinion, so I'd love to see in the comments if you have any thoughts. I would love to have a conversation because this is what I plague myself thinking about probably every single day, which is why I haven't really skated much in the last 3 months. If you're someone who feels deeply excluded from this sport due to its current policies, know that you're not alone and that there are spaces that do include people like us, whatever your identity is, in however way that you feel excluded. Contemporary skating is taking off, and I'm really excited about it because my friends at American Ice Theater are some of the pioneers in that effort, although there are lots of folks all over the world who are contributing to that in the Contemporary Skating Alliance. It's an international effort that's doing the same thing that AIT really promotes, and I can't wait to see what the sport might look like in a few years due to their influence. So stay tuned, go follow their socials, I'll put it all in the description. And honestly, with all of this, let's take like one breath. And I'm angry all the time about the sport, but I love it so much. And in the meantime, if you guys have any questions or you want to talk about it, my DMs on Instagram are always open. And just take care of yourselves. And don't forget that this sport brings a lot of joy to a lot of people despite a lot of the weird policies surrounding it. Thank you so much for watching. This was a short one. I really tried to make it short today. I will see y'all next time. Bye.